But it's, again, it just tells the story of it's the evil and the ugliness of people's hearts these days is everywhere.
This is Franky Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Franky Rose.
Hey guys, welcome to the Think Tank. So we do have a little bit of an update. JLR is back on location. So let's check this out and see what we can learn as far as today's search. And off we go, friends.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in. We're going to talk a little bit about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, 15-year-old boy with autism, still missing. It's been a month now, over a month, and still no sign of Sebastian. A lot of you guys know I've been out here for over a week now, about a week. Different locations, back and forth between Hendersonville, where he lived with his biological mother, Katie Proudfoot, stepdad Chris, and Memphis. The Proudfoots are in Memphis, south of Memphis right now. They're in actually Mississippi. They're actually in Mississippi, but we're talking about, just so people are just jumping on the case, we're talking about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, 15 years old, still missing, still no signs of Sebastian. Still no signs of Sebastian. But I have a lot of questions covering this case and covering, being boots on the ground and seeing everything around me and showing you and you guys seeing the videos that we've been putting out. Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of people out there. A lot of people care, right? A lot of people care. A lot of people have been paying attention to this case for sure. But yes, the Proudfoots are currently at a campground, right? A campground, and it's called Yogi Bear Campground. It's actually in Horn Lake, Mississippi. They're there. They got the RV, they got the truck, and they have Katie's vehicle with a picture of Sebastian taped on the side, which I thought was interesting. Reason why is, covering the Summer Wells case. Candace Wells used to drive around with picture of her Summer and her boys inside her car in her glove department. It would be a taped picture, but on Katie's vehicle, there is a picture of Sebastian on the side of flyer, which is interesting because we were around the neighborhood of where the Proudfoots left, right? They left their neighborhood. Some people say, did they flee or did they, escape, or are they trying to hide? I'm not so sure. My honest opinion is I think Chris is trying to get back into the work situation at St. Jude's hospital in Memphis. Don't know if they gave him the green light to go to work. Don't think he's working yet. They're just kind of hunkered down. I will say that the Yogi Bear people don't want people on their property. There was some other TikToker, around that area doing some TikTok. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know which TikTok person it is or personality it is, but they're sitting around, going up and apparently the management of that RV place was like, kick rocks, go, 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 go. Yeah, it's Yogi Bear. Let me just show it to you on the map here. I'm a little bit away. Let me show you Yogi Bear. It's actually called the Yogi Bear. It's called the Yogi Bear Jellystone Park Camp Resort in Memphis, Tennessee. But a PI has reached out to me actually and said, wanted to pass along some info. Chris was dead. And this is interesting because there's actually a few RVs at the time when Chris would go back and forth from the job, when he worked. There was actually a couple RVs that Christopher worked at or stayed at while he would work in Memphis. So, I've always thought, if he's working in Memphis and he's going for extended periods of time, is his company or the company paying for hotels? And I'm like, I don't know. Hotels at $100, $150 a night a shot, the expenses add up. Well, get an RV. You can't park an RV in downtown Memphis, and I don't think it's wise to park an RV in downtown Memphis at all. I don't think it's advisable, right? Because we went down the streets of Memphis, and you guys know Memphis. Memphis is off the chain, right? So you can't stay with your RV in Memphis. It didn't look like the St. Jude's Hospital that you could go in there, workers, and park their RVs on the job site. I don't know. And let me ask you guys in reference to Chris, right? You know, he says he works as a crane operator. Is he a foreman, or is Chris a and I can't figure this out. If someone knows, you know, please send it in the chat. And I appreciate the help and the support. I just saw a message come through. Everything's going lightning speed. But as far as Chris Proudfoot, is Chris Proudfoot a foreman at his job, or just a crane op? Because my mind is thinking, how in the world, if it's just a crane operator, I'm thinking salary wise, what would he make a year? What does Chris Proudfoot make a year? 70 grand, 80 grand. I mean, what do you think he makes a year? And how much do you think Katie makes a year? Because Katie, you know, said in her interview with Nancy Grace about the work truck that's outside the Proudfoot home now. There's a single work truck that's actually parked on the side of the house. And it's actually, it's in a weird position. It's like right next to the garage in the back. Some people speculate that work truck actually blocks people from the back surveillance of looking in, you know, at any vehicles coming in and out of that garage. But what does the mother works at Brinks, dad works as a crane op or crane supervisor. People are saying crane op. What's the total salary? Because they have between them a lot of little toys, right? Toys meaning motorcycles, $600,000 home, giant RV, vehicles. You heard Katie's day on Sunday, the 25th, going to buy food at BJ's. They actually went out as a group to Texas Roadhouse. I confirmed that too. The restaurant that they went to as a group, which is a mystery here, because we're going to talk a little bit about that group of individuals that went to the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th before Katie drove home. And I say Katie drove home. Maybe Sebastian drove home with him after the 25th, you know, after they went out to eat. But how do they get all this stuff? How do they afford all this stuff? Are they in debt? Or, you know, it just makes me wonder, because their house in their neighborhood is nice. I mean, the neighborhood is, you know, top notch for that area. I mean, I know maybe it's a little bit out of Hendersonville, a little bit out in the county a little bit, but it's it's literally like a $600,000 home. I mean, can you guys afford a $600,000 home? I can't. I'm not on that level right now. It's a big home. It's a nice home. You know, Chris and Katie Proudfoot described the home to Nancy Grace, the layout. I guess there's 3 bedrooms in there or something. Was there 4 or 3 bedrooms in there? They described it, you know, when the daughter stays there, where Sebastian's room at, where their room is at. But how do they afford all that? You know, it just makes me wonder. Or are they just, you know, debt, paying off mortgage, you know, making payments? Maybe they're not in debt. I don't know. But Chris, so when all this goes on, right, when this thing goes on with Sebastian, and, you know, he's claiming he was there for up to a month prior, right, the beginning of February 2024. He goes to he goes to work, claims that he hasn't been back to the house until after the call for Sebastian was missing, that he claims he made at around 6:20 a.m., which is very, very strange, because I was reviewing some of the old videos that Katie made. I'm jumping all over the place because my mind is processing so much. Just bear with me, folks. There's just so much stuff to try to understand what's true and what's not true in this. A lot of weird stuff. But going back to the campground, right? The campground. Going to get some information about how much it costs a night to stay at that campground. Can you get on a monthly rate? Can you, is it a weekly? How much does it cost? Surveillance in and out of these RV parks, because there's 2. Now let me read the parks in Mississippi. Both are about 10 minutes from his work site in Memphis. I've asked where he stayed. He refuses to answer. Shocker, right? Here are the addresses of the 2 parks that he could have stayed at. One is the Yogi Bear, and he's there. They're there. That's where they're at. Horn Lake. They're at Horn Lake, Mississippi, which is 10 minutes south of Memphis. And then the other was called Easy Days in South Haven, Mississippi on Ross Parkway. Suggestion I got, maybe check to see if they have cameras or if someone will tell you if he was definitely staying there. And that's where my mind is thinking, you know, in reference to an alibi or anything, right? You have an RV park. Who can, like, can someone, it's not like a hotel, right? Hotel, you check in, I guess. Well, maybe it is. Maybe there's a place you check in like at a front before you get your spot, or you just go in and reserve. Trying to find some information. We're in the preliminary stages of trying to find out details about the RV parks. Because where was Chris Proudfoot the 25th and the 26th? I know Nancy Grace was asking Katie Proudfoot about like specific things she was doing all through the 25th, leading up to 26 when Sebastian was reported missing by her a little after 6 a.m. Or she discovered this Sebastian missing a little after 6 a.m. But what about Proudfoot? What about Chris Proudfoot? Like, what did he do on the 25th? I wish Nancy Grace would have asked him, like, what did you do step by step? Where did you go? Who did you talk to? Did you go out to eat? Did you go out to anywhere? When did you get back to your spot you were at? All we know is he was in Memphis. But it is, you know, it's the irony is, the RV park that he possibly would have been in when Sebastian went missing, the Yogi Bear RV park, is coincidentally the same RV park that he's at right now, that they're at. And I say that them together. It's unclear when they're going to come back to their home. There has been some other people around YouTube that maybe you guys are aware, I'm not aware of, that have been going by the home, the Proudfoot's home. People are still looking for Sebastian. A month into this is how much people care about Sebastian. They're still looking. And you know, the Proudfoot's parents are there. The Proudfoot's parents are at least going there, checking up on things on the house while Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot are in Mississippi. While in Mississippi at the Yogi Bear Horn Lake. I'll show you exactly where it is on the map compared to Memphis. Yogi Bear. It's just south of Memphis.
Talking about Yogi Bear, well, I don't know if when the United Cajun Navy and whatever they're called went after him, what kind of bear they poked when they went after JLR, because we can all see how he's dealing with it. He's dealing with it properly. And he's not going to take anybody's ish. And I'm proud of him for that, because he is not doing anything wrong. So anyone out there who has anything negative about JLR, it cannot be said in our chat. We don't allow that. And just enjoy the content. It's always a great thing when content creators can work together instead of against each other.
Memphis. It's just south of Memphis. It's just south of Memphis. It's like literally over the state line. And the distance between that and St. Jude's Hospital, folks, St. Jude's Hospital. Now, now stay with me on this, because it's interesting. It's interesting. It's actually 17 miles. So he's 17 miles away from his job. So again, you got an RV. You can't park your RV in Memphis. Probably wouldn't be advisable to park your RV in the Memphis area surrounding, or, you know, around the city limits of Memphis. It's wild. It's dangerous there. So you go a little bit south, and probably Mississippi is more receptive to RVs and everything like that. I'm sure there's RV parks in Tennessee too. Seen a lot of RVs all over the place. There's actually a big boat behind me in an RV. But going back and forth, leave your RV there, unhitch your truck, leave. Boom, 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 boom. So, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting about Proudfoot's alibi around the 25th and 26th at one of these RV parks where his RV was staying. Like, okay, let me ask you something. When Proudfoot did return home after Sebastian was reported missing, did he take his RV with him? Or did he leave his RV at that spot? Trying to find some details. If people know, if anyone knows anything about like Chris Proudfoot, like if anyone's out there that stayed in those RV parks at the time, like anyone that's out at those RV parks that we just mentioned, the two, like around the 25th to 26th, and seeing Proudfoot around there, seeing something going on, please go to law enforcement. Please go to law enforcement, because I'm shocked to the core that according to Proudfoot, he didn't even take a lie detector test, which I'm like, I don't know whether to believe him or not. I mean, I don't know whether to believe Proudfoot or not when he says that he didn't take a lie. I don't personally believe anything that comes out their mouth. I don't believe anything. Nancy Grace kind of baited them. You know, they were talking about, you know, Nancy kind of played a little good. One thing I'll give, I like Nancy Grace. You know, I you know, her interview, she was like kind of doing like hardcore interrogation. We'll wish she would have asked a lot more questions, but we always say that after the fact, you know, in that moment. But she got them, and she caught them in a lie about the scent found to the retention pond, you know, and she like basically said, you know, about this, and they were like, yeah. There no law enforcement ever said anything publicly about a scent going to a retention pond. Katie's talking about a thud in the house. Katie was talking about Sebastian going and take the trash at one point. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to say these different things that happened to kind of throw us off the trail, throw everyone off the trail, create a narrative that they want everyone to follow. Because I haven't seen any evidence of law enforcement saying anything about a scent going to no retention pond. So, I mean, if you know something's not true and Nancy says it out of their mouth and they kind of validate it, they're just misleading people into another direction, sending people on a wild goose chase. And, you know, that's what I see the Proudfoots. They've clearly lied on numerous instances. So, you know, I wouldn't believe anything they say at this point. Nothing. I would probably the only people I would actually believe at this point with any information would probably be Seth Rogers and law enforcement. Law enforcement would probably be the only one at this point I would listen to with anything. You know, Seth gets a lot of tips, and he's a mess, man. He's trying to find his son. He's just emotional. He's passionate. I just saw the News Nation interview he gave the other day, man. I feel so bad for him, man, because like I personally seen him cry. He's out there looking. He's desperate for answers. He's desperate. You know, trying to find, you know, where his son is. I don't see that out of the Proudfoots. I don't see the Proudfoots. They're, I mean, Chris is more worried about working, and we're a month into this and no concern whatsoever where Sebastian is. Like, Chris doesn't even attempt to do anything, like, as far as, you know, bringing awareness to his own son at all. Like, stepson, which there's no pictures of them, by the way. Not one picture exists that I've seen thus far on this case, folks, where Proudfoot is with Sebastian. Have you seen any pictures? I just posted one on my Twitter, which is interesting. I got it. It was sent to me. Proudfoots are, you know, they'll take a picture together. Chris and Katie with a dog. They'll take a picture together with a dog, right? And Chris and Katie will take pictures together, but you don't see any pictures out there with Chris and Sebastian. Why? Is there any? Do any exist? Has Chris ever took a picture with his stepson, Sebastian? Because I haven't seen nothing. So let me know what you think about that, because that's kind of like, hey, how did Chris really feel about Sebastian? How did he really feel? I mean, we heard the belt beating, a lot of mixed stories on that. Chris tells one thing, on Nancy Grace tells podcasters other. You know, a lot of mistruths or omitting facts. A lot of things I want to know. This is what I want to know. This is what I particularly want to know. We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook group centered up with this case. We have some really good mods, and we try to put truthful and accurate information. Here it is right here. Join this group, please. We are boots on the ground, and we have people at all angles, sleuths, processing information, a lot of neighbors, family members, community, a lot of people in this group, and we put up-to-date information. We got things, you know, we put through this group. And one particular thing I want to share with you this morning, right? I want to share with you this morning is about, it would be nice if Katie Proudfoot could give an accurate timeline of the day before Sebastian disappeared. Katie keeps reminding us in each interview how socially awkward her son is and how he didn't get invited anywhere, how other kids didn't like being around him because he didn't know personal space. For a child that didn't do anything the day before he disappeared is very public, eventful, and well documented. Now think about that, folks. Think about that, because Katie revealed on Nancy Grace. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Well, they said before with the Chronicles of Olivia interview that they picked up a cousin. But Katie went as far on Nancy Grace to say that when they went out to eat, they weren't just Sebastian and Katie. It was 2 aunts and a cousin along with them, a group one. Now, there's a picture circulating out there of a group of people at Red Robin, but I can tell you, my sources have told me, it's been confirmed, and even the manager of Texas Roadhouse, let me just say Texas Roadhouse, which is a little bit away from the bowling alley. That's where I was told that they went out to eat, at Texas Roadhouse, right? So you go as a group. But the great question is, and this person presents a question. Remember, Sebastian doesn't have friends, socially awkward. You know, now he's out and about. He's out and about Sunday with family and friends as a group. Wonder what was going on in his mind if he's like mostly isolated most of the time and then goes out on the 25th. Because I think this mystery, something transpired personally, or the chain of events on the 25th have a lot to play into this. I really do. Also, you know, before I found out that Katie and Sebastian went out to eat as a group, you know, I was at the bowling alley. And when I was at the bowling alley, I was thinking, you know, I went in there and took video. I'm going to share some video on this channel of the inside of the bowling alley and everything like that. I'm like thinking to myself, how does a mother and child go to this type of bowling alley? Because it looks like it's like a game fun place. It looks like a place you would send a group of people to have a party. It's like a place where it's like a family event with multiple people, not just 1 or 2 people. So that's kind of makes sense to me that probably most likely the group, the 2 aunts, the cousin, and I kind of know who they are, but I don't want to say their name until I verify it, because I just don't, we want to vet things. The group, you know, that she was with. The group went to this, family fun zone, like a family fun zone, but it's centered around a lot of people. So they went there as a group, supposedly, and then went out to dinner afterward. But my question is, and this is why this is the information I want to get, and I'm sure maybe you guys can provide some insight. When this group of people, Katie, Sebastian, 2 aunts and a cousin, when they went to this bowling alley and then out to eat, did they drive as a group? Did they go in the same vehicle as a group and travel together as a group in one vehicle? Did they get 2 vehicles and follow each other? So they go out to eat as a group. Did they meet there and eat as a group separately? Did they separate vehicles meet there, or did they all pick each other up? So they go as a group and eat. What did they eat? What transpired at the restaurant? Because Katie also said witnesses staff there. Because Nancy was like, who were the last people besides you to see Sebastian alive? And she said when they went out to eat. That's the last people. And she also said the staff of the restaurant. But you're eating there, right? What did Sebastian eat? What did Katie eat? How was the demeanor between the group? Was there any arguments in that group? Was everyone on good terms, fighting, laughing, having a good time, eating? Was everyone just doing their own business? Remember, Sebastian, according to the family, socially awkward. So now my question is, after they eat as a group, what happens then? What happens then? Did they all leave in the same vehicle and go where? Because if you're there with the people, I want to know where the other people went from that point. Were they all there together as a group? Or did they separate their ways? Or did Katie drive this group back to their house and then drive home back to the Hendersonville home? because I can be honest. I'm always honest, right? I don't know why I said could be honest. I don't know if there's any proof Sebastian even came home that night. Like, where's the proof besides the Proudfoot saying it? Where's the proof? Like, I know that people are spreading rumors that, oh, the neighbor across the street has surveillance of them returning home. I ain't seen nothing. So where is the evidence that Sebastian really returned home that night after they went out to eat? We got to find out the timeline, the driving route. We got to find out the driving route that Katie took from the restaurant to back home, because Katie returned home, right? Katie had to return home. Katie at least returned home. She made the call. She's in the house. She claims that Sebastian made it. But where's the proof that Sebastian made it home? So did something transpire in that vehicle? Did something happen? You know, who's in the vehicle? What's the routes? I want to know more about this. And I'm looking into this more. If you have some insight, like if you have any sightings, did Katie stop and make any other stops that she didn't mention in her interview? Did she stop at a convenience store? Did she stop to get gas? Did she go make another spot? You know? I mean, because at the time, what time did they actually go out to eat? Because remember, I looked at the time on, let me just, I think it was like 5:47 or something like that. Remember, daylight savings time now. But I was looking at 6 p.m. For some reason, I had 6 p.m. in my mind, right? Because there was rumors that Katie returned home with Sebastian, was seen on surveillance at that house at 6 p.m., right? But I don't even know if that's true. So if you're going, so one, I want to know also, what time did they go out to eat? What time were they actually at the place? And was it Texas Roadhouse? I'm told it's Texas Roadhouse. I don't know if it's Texas Roadhouse. I'm told that. Okay. But what time was that? And what time did Katie return home? Because the sun sets at February, I think it's 5:40 something, 26, Hendersonville. 5:39. 5:39. That day, sun sets at 5:39. Now, my point is, folks, that when Nancy Grace was asking Katie about surveillance around the house, remember what Katie said? When it's dark at night, the neighbor's surveillance or the neighbor's ring cameras can't pick nothing up when it's dark. She said that. So the question is, what proof is there that Sebastian came home in that car after going out to eat? And what time did they eat? Because if they returned home after 5:39 p.m., it's dark. Well, you know, once sun goes down 5:39, let's think probably about 6:15, then it gets dark, right? Someone said on there he was seen taking out the trash. Seen by who? I didn't see anything like that. She says he took out the trash. I haven't heard anyone to corroborate that. I haven't seen anything that says that he was seen taking out the trash. This is what the mother is saying. And I don't believe anything the mother says. Anything. A neighbor said that. Which neighbor? Which neighbor said that? That's corroborate. See, people, when people say a neighbor said that. What neighbor? What neighbor said? Did the neighbor say they heard it from another neighbor? Are we talking about third-hand stuff? What neighbor said that they saw Sebastian take out the trash? And maybe the neighbor, you know, I don't know. Gotta figure out the truth here besides what the Proudfoots say. I don't believe a word the Proudfoots say. Nothing. They've already proven they've lied numerous times. We've heard, I can't even go through all the inconsistencies and not telling the truth. I don't believe anything. And as longer and longer and longer this gets, the timeline and story can change. They can change things. They can trick people, you know? I don't believe anything they say at all. I don't believe anything to say unless they actually sit down and describe step by step what they've done that day. They'll at least understand. And then you can go vet it through. We're going to get some delicious orange juice. So there's still a lot of unknowns there. Did Chris, I know Nancy Grace asked Chris if he returned home at all between when he left at the beginning of February up to after Sebastian got reported missing. Has he been home anywhere in between? He says no. She should have asked, has he been back around the neighborhood around that time? Has he been back in town around the time? Yeah, Chris might have left and went there, but not at the actual home, maybe down the street, maybe in the next neighborhood, maybe in the construction, maybe somewhere else in Hendersonville, maybe somewhere near the restaurant or the bowling alley. Maybe took an Uber, Ash says. You got an RV there, right? You got an RV. RV's not going anywhere. Just saying, you know, you speak with Katie and Chris, confirm they spoke the night before Sebastian went missing. I mean, Chris could easily just, we don't know if he has any burner phones or maybe he doesn't even have a phone. He could definitely just leave the phone in the RV, unhitch the RV and take the truck and have the phone on. Or have the phone, because very first thing, these guys are smart. They know about pings. I know a lot of you guys out of true crime, you always think, oh, how do you get away with the perfect crime? Well, the very first thing they're going to do is ping your phone. So you leave your phone in one location and go do something else somewhere else. Right? I mean, most people that, know about law and true crime know this. They're not dummies. I mean, he's military and she works Brink's security systems. They know that stuff. I don't. It's something very, very stinks with this whole situation. And to me, the prime suspects, we've always said that. And, we're going to be on them left and right. We're not going away. As far as searches, folks, there has been no searches around here anymore. I haven't seen any searches going on, monitoring if there is going to be searches. I strongly advise anyone that, as far as searches, I strongly advise everyone before you, go on a motion, understand what the search is about. I strongly don't recommend anyone search unless it's like law enforcement sanctioned, unless law enforcement is involved or law enforcement calls, help. Because there's just a lot of, trickery and scheming going on that I personally seen in this area. And, you don't want to go on people's private property. Law enforcement up in that area responds to me. Sumner County responds to me. I think one of their concerns is people trespassing on just anyone's property. You can't just go onto someone's property and trespass a month into this and just say, hey, I'm going to look because someone told me to go look here. You can't just do that, right? In a lot of situations where there is a child go missing in that very critical first 48 hours, 72 hours, I think anyone should go everywhere. You should just go through the whole woods, and it doesn't matter. And I think every resident should be understanding of that when you're prowling through the woods and everything like that. But at this time, a month into it, I don't think it's wise at all to go on anyone's property to go search for something, because you don't know. Like, you understand who's taking on these searches. If it's a group, understand what group this is, and if law enforcement has approval of this, or if law enforcement is even aware. Do not go to any secret searches. Don't do nothing someone directs you to do. I can say, the prior weekend at the Rockland Recreation Center, that search was a complete disaster. Now looking back at it, because people drawing people onto a property, and it ended up no one was even allowed on that property. It was like federal property, and you could be in trouble. You could get in trouble if you just go, all the property owners could say, why are you on my property? I wouldn't do it. I would just sit back and until law enforcement maybe gets a good tip and a law, or if there's a search, if there's a search going on with law enforcement, maybe they're present monitoring the situation, or they're, SARs there, certified search and rescue people, someone with credentials, like actual credentials there, searching. I just wouldn't do it. At this point, it's, I think law enforcement, is not even entertaining any type of searches. That's the way I take. They're not involved with any searches. I can say that, and I like this reporter. His name's Burton Staggs. He put out a tweet, and I retweeted him. Just want to share because apparently Equa Search is working with law enforcement. Equa Search, Burton Staggs put out here, and I'm going to read this tweet right here. He put it out, and he said, I can confirm that Equa Search has been active in the search for Sebastian Rogers. An Equa Search member tells me they have been working with law enforcement for weeks and continue to do so. From my personal experience with Equa Search, they prefer to work with no publicity, right? So that's good. And I believe this reporter because he does good work. He's grassroots and he's boots on the ground. He lives in the area and he puts out, pretty good stuff. He would know this. I don't think he's putting out this. So they got Equa Search working with law enforcement behind the scenes. That's good when they're working with law enforcement. When you're not working with law enforcement and moving forward on this channel, yeah, we'll monitor who's doing what, and we'll bring awareness to who's doing what. But moving forward on this channel, I've learned a lot in the last week that I strongly do not advise anyone to work with a group that claims they're doing things without knowing who you're dealing with, without knowing, So if you decide you want to help and you decide you want to go through property and all that stuff, I would get the owners of the property. I would understand what's the objective here, what makes people believe that this is the location. Just do your research, do your due diligence. I'm not saying don't search. I'm saying that, try to understand more about what's going on before you can get yourself into a pickle, and you don't want to get yourself in any trouble, and put people at risk. I don't want to see any of you guys get arrested or get in handcuffs or get hurt or get misled or bamboozled or scammed. I don't want to see people get scammed out there, man. There's people out there that have bad intentions. Trust me. There's people out there that have very, very, very bad intentions. They're like evil. So we'll keep bringing awareness to Sebastian. There is rumors circulating out there about, a landfill and body. We're waiting on law enforcement. We're waiting on law enforcement to, put that out. We're waiting on, also Nick Barris with, the reporter up there actually went into Sumner County Emergency Management and they showed the graph. They literally already searched in those week and a half so much acres of land within that radius of the Hendersonville home of the Proudfoots. I mean, they've searched pretty much every nook and cranny. I don't, unless law enforcement says, hey, we need the public's help to redo something. I don't think there's nothing left to search around there unless, there's some, and even if someone says, oh, well, we got a credible tip or something like that. Well, you would think if you got a credible tip at this point to search somewhere, then law enforcement would be joining you with that credible tip. If law enforcement's not joining you with the credible tip, I can't see why, a loosely organized search would be good. That's just my opinion on that. I'm not a professional with that as far as, about the searching and how all that works and everything like that. But just do your due diligence. And people own guns too on these properties, and you're going after one thing too is maybe in that fluid situation, people know what's going on, but a month after the fact, no one's really, a lot of people, believe it or not, and it's sad, people get forgot about them and all the homeowners are going to see is someone going through their property, walking around, looking around, staring, going through the bushes, and they might be trigger happy. So you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to go to secret locations. You don't want to go on people's private property. Some of these homeowners might not want people on their private property at all. So, but we are basically hounds on the Proudfoots. We're monitoring every move. Will they say anything? Will they get arrested? Will they, come clean? Will they share more information? What's next for them? We're in the more like the human trends aspect of this situation where, we'll see what they do. Will they just go, life goes on with the Proudfoots and Chris just goes back to work and Katie goes back to work and they kind of wait for this all to die down and they try to think that this is going to go away. We obviously have not seen them search. We haven't seen them do. They didn't even search that first week. And one thing that's interesting too, I just want to say that, you know, that critical time frame around when Katie discovered Sebastian not in his room a little after 6 a.m. Chris says Chris says that he called law enforcement at 6:20. 6:20 came out of his mouth. So you got 6 a.m. to 6:20. You also have Katie saying that she immediately, a couple minutes later, calls Chris to say she can't find him and stuff like that. And made me wonder, right? You come in, notice your child missing at a time frame. Would you panic and go crazy like that and call your other significant others who's at a job, supposedly at a job far away doing his own thing, with work? Would you go bother someone 3 minutes into not finding somebody? I don't think so. It doesn't sit right for me. That time doesn't even sit right for me either. You would think that you would look around at least more, like 15, 20 minutes, look around, just make sure everything okay, just look. I mean, within 3 minutes, I don't know. Chris needs a poly. Maybe he took one. He's just saying that he did. He said he did before.
Don't joke.
I had a flat tire last night. Oh, I love the cities. I had a flat tire last night. Driving around thousands of miles all over the place. Boom! Tire goes flat. Pulling a gas station. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be stuck here. Kind of like this hood. Bad neighborhood. I'm thinking, oh man. So I look for a tire place. Everything's closed. So I call up this mobile tire guy, right? Love the cities. This dude comes up in a U-Haul van with full of tires and just basically jacks my car up. Pay a little premium. It wasn't that bad. Pay a little premium. And he puts on a tire. Probably stolen tire. I hope not. But I get my tire fixed within it's kind of like a pit stop, a NASCAR pit stop. I just called up this guy and he was just like, yeah, I can come out. Where you at? Comes up with a little moment. Puts air in tire. Boom. Back in the game. So kudos to those cities. They got to do that in the suburbs because I was planning on getting a hotel and then have to go to like Tire Kingdom the next day. It was pretty cool. And I cashed apped him. I said, do you take Cash App? Yeah. And he's like, can you do me a favor? Can you give me a review? What was his name too? Hold on. I'll tell you his name. This guy's name. He was a good guy. Nice guy. He's actually has a legit business. Daniel Ogwadi. I gave him a $15 tip too. Daniel Ogwadi. Yeah, man. Kudos to him. Shout out to him. Good work.
Yeah.
And that was dark and scary, you can't. And I have stuff in my car. Yeah, I got a computer and I got all types of tripod and equipment and everything like that. We're covering Sebastian. We're going to do other things too, though. We're on this case. We're on, I want to maybe talk about the missing individual, Caleb. You know what I'm talking about? Someone share some information in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Texas. There's other cases that still need awareness. People are asking, what am I going to Baltimore? What's going on in Baltimore? I don't think there's anything that really needs to be shared in Baltimore. There is a lot of media cameras that are, propped that, people wanted to me. I got a lot of people that sent me, about Baltimore, about wanting to see what's going on there. But I think that's a media market. There's a lot of things going on there. So I don't think that should be live streamed. That would be good for us because you can just see it. There's lots of stuff already out there. It's kind of like if, we go to places where no one else goes. We go to different places when it comes to missing people. JLR investigates, but I enjoyed the chat this morning. We're going to keep Sebastian's name out there. We're on it. Join our Facebook group. And when new information comes out, we're monitoring who's who. We're monitoring what's going on. We're monitoring who, is around. We're monitoring what's happening. We're seeing what's going on. The Proudfoots, I could probably say, unless Katie and Christopher are taking some sleeping medication, they probably can't sleep. They know that people, people are not letting the foot off the gas. They got the boots on their neck, boots on the ground. I'm sure they didn't know how the extent of what they got themselves into. I thought, they probably thought that they thought this was just people were going to accept their story that a child just walked away as as if it was a runaway. And kid run away, everyone forgot, you know, put Sebastian out there. But man, oh man, I think their master plan backfired. And I think they're going to be in big, big, big trouble soon. All right. Boots on the ground. JLR investigates.
Okay, guys. So I've also got the 911 call. So I'm going to bring that up for us. And we'll take a listen. Unreal. Do. Give me 2 seconds. And here we go.
Good day, missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised that the 15-year-old male is not in the bed. Medium white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 1 finger turning down. Going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. Going to be in the home before midnight. The doors are locked at this time.
10-4 Monroe.
Hello. 12, okay?
CRL.
10-5, yeah.
8-5, clear verbal warning.
Yeah, clear verbal. Good day, missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised that the 15-year-old male is not in the bed. Medium white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, 1 finger turning down. Going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. Going to be in the home before midnight. The doors are locked at this time.
10-4 Monroe.
Hello. 12, okay?
CRL.
10-5, yeah.
8-5, clear verbal warning.
Yeah, clear verbal.
Okay. So that was the 911 call.
Good day, missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court,
And
1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville.
do that. So guys, thanks for joining me bright and early. I appreciate it. So if you have not subscribed, please do. Don't forget to share, like, and make sure you hit that bell so that you get all of the updates that are coming out fast and furious. We're also dealing with other cases, as you know, like P. Diddy. What is that? We've been watching Karen Reed, Madeline Soto. There is a bunch, plus the new stuff that's happening, sadly, on a regular basis. So again, everybody, I appreciate you. You know I do. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.